Dive into a thrilling journey with us. We're rewinding time to explore 20 baffling photos and discoveries that have left even the smartest minds amazed. Get ready to be wowed by mysteries from the past. Number 20. Costa Rica's strange stone balls. To begin with, in some parts of Costa Rica, there are big round rocks called stone balls. About 300 of them are found on an island and near a river. People think they were made by a group of people called the Diquis a long time ago. The Diquis lived in a place called the Valley of the Rio Grande de Taraba. This tribe was also great at crafts and inventing things. They made pretty objects from clay, bones, and gold. And they made these big round rocks, placing them at important spots. What's interesting is that these stone balls are different sizes, some as small as your hand, while others are taller than a grown adult. Don't give them a nudge because they are rock solid. The Diquis shaped them by hitting them with other rocks, and then made them smooth by rubbing them with sand. And guess what? A long time ago, when the Spanish came to this place, they didn't care for these blobs, and neither did their stories mention them. Later on, in the year 1500, a man named Perafan de Ribera went on a trip, but he didn't find any signs of the Diquis. He was convinced they'd been wiped out, and it felt like this tribe was soon to be forgotten. But in 1930, the United Fruit Company found them while clearing the jungle to grow bananas. Now, they're the biggest mystery on Earth. Except another puzzling discovery made documentarians lose their sleep. Number 19. Diatlov Pass. In 1959, a group of 10 students and an instructor from a Russian university set out on a skiing and mountaineering trip in a very cold area called Diatlov Pass. After a student with joint pain turned back, the rest continued. But sadly, they never came back or were heard from again. A search team found their tent partially buried in the snow, with signs that it had been cut open from inside. As the snow melted, the team's bodies were discovered, each in a strange state. Some were missing clothes, and some were badly harmed. Back then, authorities said their deaths were caused by an unknown natural force. But this didn't explain everything. Over the years, many theories emerged, from secret military tests to Yeti attacks. Recently, Russian authorities revisited the case and concluded that an avalanche was the main cause of the tragedy. But this explanation raised doubts, as the evidence didn't quite add up. The slope where they camped wasn't steep enough for an avalanche. There was no recent snowfall to trigger it, and the injuries didn't match what's usually seen in avalanche victims. This led scientists from Switzerland to team up and investigate. They focused on the delay between when the slope was cut for the camp and when the supposed avalanche happened. They used computer models and simulations to try and understand what might have occurred. The lead scientist, Alexander Puzrin, had a personal connection to Russia, and his work on the Diatlov Pass mystery earned him newfound respect from his Russian wife. Even today, he carries on his investigation and aims to shed light on a decades-old enigma that has puzzled many. But more secrets from the past confuse us. Number 18. Antikythera Mechanism. The Antikythera Mechanism is an ancient Greek device used to calculate and display information about the stars and planets. It was found in the year 1901 in the Mediterranean Sea, on a shipwreck near the island of Antikythera. It's believed to have been made around 100 BCE. This device is remarkable because it's the oldest known example of a complex gear-based mechanism. It was originally housed in a box about the size of a shoebox and covered in Greek inscriptions. These inscriptions helped researchers understand its purpose, mainly for astronomy and calendars. The mechanism worked using a hand-turned shaft connected to a gear system. This system drove various gear trains, with one full turn of the main gear corresponding to one solar year. It had dials displaying the positions of the sun and moon in the zodiac and lunar phases. On the back, there were two large dials. One displayed a cycle of about 19 years, useful for regulating calendars. The other showed times when solar or lunar eclipses were likely to happen based on an 18.2-year eclipse cycle. While we know a lot about its functions, there are still theories about its exact purpose and whether similar technology was used for other things in ancient Greece and Rome. The Antikythera mechanism is the only surviving example of a long tradition of mechanical devices for astronomy even today. There's a global effort by researchers, supported by the Greek Ministry of Culture, to study and understand this fascinating ancient artifact, except some secrets are better left in the dark. Number 17. Hook Sea Island Monster. Hook Island, off Australia's coast, is a peaceful national park, mainly known for coral diving. But it wasn't always known for its beauty. In the year 1964, Robert Le Serrec, a French photographer, spotted a huge creature near the island's Stonehaven Bay. Initially estimated at 30 feet, the creature appeared even larger upon closer inspection, possibly over 90 feet long. Le Serrec described the creature's appearance in detail, including its head, skin, and eyes. Cryptozoologists considered the possibility of it being a giant swamp eel, but this was ruled out due to size and habitat. Le Serrec's background raised questions about his motivations, and some details in the photos sparked a lot of controversy. But much like the Loch Ness Monster, the Hook Island Sea Monster remains a debated mystery in the world of cryptozoology, except some evidence is so concrete you can't look away. Number 16. Nampa Figurine. In 1889, workers drilling a well near Nampa, Idaho, found a tiny clay figurine, roughly the size of a dime, shaped like a slender woman. It was discovered at a depth of about 295 feet. Some wonder if this was a genuine artifact or just a coincidence. Questions also arise about who made it, and for what purpose. Skeptics even suggest it might be a hoax. Professor Albert A. Wright from Oberlin College in 1979 revealed that the figurine was not the work of an amateur, but of a skilled artist. Despite being weathered by time, its features were still clear as day. A round head with faint eyes and mouth, broad shoulders, short sturdy arms, and long legs. There were also faint patterns on the figure, possibly representing clothing or jewelry, mainly on the chest, neck, arms, and wrists. Overall, the doll appeared to depict a person from a sophisticated civilization, dressed in artistic attire. Wright further explained that he examined the oxide discoloration on the figurine and compared it to clay balls from the same well. The similarities confirmed its authenticity. Additionally, the accounts of those who discovered it, along with testimony from Mr. G. M. Gumming, an in-charge from the Oregon Short Line Railroad, supported the figurine's genuineness. The discovery drew comparisons to Aurignacian figurines found in caves in France and Belgium, particularly one known as the Venus impudica from Logerie-Basse. Either way, these eerie figures make us shudder, much like this next suspicious painting. Number 15. Madonna with Saint Giovannino. This 15th century painting by Domenico Ghirlandaio has sparked a debate about an unusual object in the sky, with some suggesting it might be a UFO. Ghirlandaio was known for religious-themed paintings, and this one features the Madonna, Infant Jesus, and St. John. Close examination reveals a peculiar object beside the Madonna's head, leading some ancient alien theorists to guess about extraterrestrial visitors. Some propose that the object lessens the intensity of Madonna's halo and could be protecting her somehow. During this period, celestial-looking elements were common in religious art, often representing divine entities. Of course, science and religion going hand in hand have sparked a lot of theories. While some might find this concept unsettling with biblical beliefs, it undeniably makes for an interesting dinner table discussion. Speaking of interesting topics, have you heard about the walking pants? Number 14. Fresno. In the year 2000, a grainy CCTV camera recorded what seemed to be a ghostly pair of pants walking across a man's front yard in Fresno. Legend has it that a man named Jose, awakened by his barking dogs, saw this mysterious figure through his camera system, now known as the Fresno Nightcrawler. Then, in 2011, similar figures were reportedly captured on camera in Yosemite National Park. The Fresno Nightcrawler gained internet fame and even made it to the History Channel. People online have tried to unravel the mystery. Some wonder if the Fresno Nightcrawler could be an alien or a cryptid, a creature based on alleged sightings. While the original video hasn't been debunked, other videos claiming to capture it have been dismissed as hoaxes. A YouTuber demonstrated how the phenomenon could be faked through post-editing. Reports of the Fresno Nightcrawler have dwindled over the years, but the question lingers. Were the original sightings genuine or possibly staged? Speaking of staged sightings, aren't time travelers a hoax too? Number 13. Time Traveler. The time-traveling hipster is a photograph taken in the year 1941 during the reopening of the South Fork Bridge in Goldbridge, British Columbia. Some internet claims suggest that the man in the photo could be a time traveler due to his seemingly modern clothing, sunglasses, and small camera. But his clothes being out of place for 1941 keeps many people up at night. The style of sunglasses he's wearing originated in the 1920s. Though his shirt may resemble a modern printed T-shirt, it appears to be a sweater with a sewn-on emblem, similar to what sports teams of that period wore. It resembles the uniform of the Montreal Maroons, a hockey team from that era. The rest of his clothing could have been found at that time, although it's notably more casual than what others in the photograph are wearing. While his camera is smaller than most from that era, Kodak had been producing portable cameras of similar size since 1938. The time-traveling hipster phenomenon has gained attention as a case study in viral internet trends. It was even presented at the Museums and the Web 2011 conferences in Philadelphia. But wait, you didn't think we were done with time travel, did you? Number 12, John Titor. Between the years 2000 and 2001, a person claiming to be a time traveler named John Titor gained popularity on an online bulletin board. He said he was from the year 2036 and discussed various future events, including a U.S. Civil War in 2008 and a nuclear World War III in 2015, which he claimed would have devastating consequences. As time passed, Titor's predictions didn't come true, leading to a decline in his popularity. Many started to doubt the authenticity of his claims, and investigations suggested that Titor might have been a hoax created by two siblings from Florida. Despite this, the story of John Titor is crazy popular on various websites, and it has even inspired a book, a Japanese visual novel anime called Steins, Gate, and a play. His tale is occasionally mentioned on the radio show Coast to Coast AM. In this way, the Titor story is unique in how it gained broad appeal from its origin on an internet discussion board. But there's one other person that comes to mind who can give Titor a run for his money. Number 11, Babushka Lady. The Babushka Lady is an unidentified woman who was present during the 1963 assassinations of U.S. President John F. Kennedy. She might have captured photographs or films of the events in Dallas's Dealey Plaza when the shooting occurred. She earned her nickname from the headscarf she wore, which was similar to those worn by elderly Russian women. The Babushka Lady was seen holding a camera by eyewitnesses and was also captured in various film accounts of the assassination. She was observed in different locations around Dealey Plaza before and after the shooting. Despite her prominence in the images and films of that day, neither she nor any film she might have taken has ever been positively identified. And get this, Beverly Oliver claimed to be the Babushka Lady, but her lies were caught in the act. It seemed like the real woman was still at large. To this day, the true identity of the Babushka Lady and the fate of any film she might have taken remain an unresolved mystery. Except, more photos can never be explained that plague our history. Number 10, Solway. The Solway Firth spaceman, also known as the Solway spaceman or Cumberland spaceman, is a mysterious figure seen in a photograph taken on May 23, 1964 by Jim Templeton, a fireman, photographer, and local historian. The photo was taken on Burgh Marsh near Burgh by Sands, overlooking the Solway Firth in Cumberland, England. Templeton claimed the picture showed a person in a spacesuit, and he insisted that he did not see anyone there when he took the photo. Journalist David Clark would years later suggest that the figure was Templeton's wife, who was standing with her back to the camera. Her blue dress may have appeared white due to overexposure, but her husband's denial cannot be ignored. If his wife was feet away from the image, then who was caught in the act? Yet this isn't the only evidence of someone or thing caught in the wrong place at the wrong time. Number 9, Bigfoot. The Patterson-Gimlin film is a short motion picture shot in 1967 in Northern California, claimed by its makers to depict Bigfoot. It has been the subject of numerous attempts to verify or debunk its authenticity. The footage was captured near Bluff Creek, a tributary of the Klamath River, and was rediscovered in 2011 after being lost for decades due to foliage regrowth. The filmmakers were Roger Patterson and Robert Bob Gimlin. Patterson maintained the creature was real until his death from cancer in 1972. Gimlin, who denied involvement in any hoax, began speaking publicly about the film in the mid-2000s after decades of avoiding the topic. To him, the eerie appearance of this outworldly primate species was too surreal and real. And much like the people debate Bigfoot, do they question the existence of lizard people? Number 8. Ubeid. The Ubeid lizard people figurines are indeed intriguing artifacts from the pre-Sumerian Ubeid period, which lasted from approximately 6500 to 4000 BC. They were discovered at the Tel al-Ubeid archaeological site in 1919 and have since piqued the interest of researchers and enthusiasts alike. These figurines offer a unique glimpse into the beliefs, practices, and artistic expressions of the people who inhabited Mesopotamia during this ancient period. There are some key details about the Ubeid lizard people figurines that make them such a puzzle. Did you know the area where the figurines were found is actually present-day Iraq? The site is significant for its rich archaeological findings, including numerous figurines. Not to mention, alongside the lizard people figurines, a variety of other figurines were discovered at Tel al-Ubeid. One of the notable figurines depicts a lizard woman breastfeeding a child, which adds to the unusual nature of these artifacts. Interestingly, the Ubeid period is considered a pre-Sumerian culture that laid the foundation for the subsequent Sumerian civilization. These figurines provide insights into the spiritual and cultural beliefs of this early Mesopotamian society, and the presence of lizard imagery in these figurines raises questions about its significance in the context of culture. Lizards may have held symbolic or religious importance for the people of the Ubeid period. The craftsmanship and artistic detail of these figurines showcase the skills of the artisans of the time. They offer a unique opportunity to explore the aesthetic preferences and techniques of the Ubeid culture. While the exact meaning and purpose behind these figurines remain speculative, they likely held cultural and possibly religious significance. They may have been used in rituals, ceremonies, or as talismans. Either way, their existence tells us of a time we cannot understand, much like the next mystery. Number 7. Fairy circles. Fairy circles are mysterious circular patches of barren land found in arid grasslands, ranging from 2 to 12 meters in diameter. They are often surrounded by a ring of enhanced grass growth. These formations occur in the Namib Desert in southern Africa and a part of the Pilbara region in Western Australia. Despite many studies, the exact origin of fairy circles remains unproven. Various theories have been proposed, including the influence of different termite species or natural vegetation patterns resulting from competition between grasses. And get this, in the oral traditions of the Himba people in northern Namibia, fairy circles are attributed to the actions of gods, spirits, or natural divinities. According to their beliefs, these barren patches were either created by their original ancestor Mukuru or are considered to be the footprints of gods. An alternative myth, sometimes promoted by tour guides in Namibia, suggests that the circles are formed by an underground dragon, and its toxic breath is what kills the vegetation within the circle. For now, it looks like their appearance defies logic, and the puzzle to understand them continues, much like this next enigma. Number 6. Voynich Manuscript. The Voynich Manuscript is an old book with unknown writing and illustrations. It's made of vellum and dates back to the early 15th century. Some think it might be from Italy during the Renaissance. People have different ideas about what it means, like it could be a code, a language, or just a prank. The book has around 240 pages, but some are missing. It's filled with strange drawings, including people, plants that don't exist, and astrological symbols. The text is written from left to right. It's named after Wilfrid Voynich, who bought it in 1912 and later gave it to Yale University's Beinecke Rare Book and Manuscript Library. Its script and illustrations are unique, showing fanciful plants and peculiar scenes. The writing remains a puzzle as it uses an alphabet never seen before. The drawings include odd plants and quirky scenes of people. The book likely contains knowledge about nature, including herbs and celestial movements. Despite much study, nobody has figured out what the writing means. Many code breakers from World War I and II tried to decipher it, but no one succeeded. It's still a mystery, and people are very curious about it. But hey, if you're interested, Yale University put the whole manuscript online in 2020, It's time for today's subscriber pick. One of our subscribers shared an image with us that has left him and his friends wondering and puzzled. He came across this picture while going through outdated photos and archives on the internet and was stunned. It seems that this picture shows a man walking mid-air. Or is it multiple people who seem to be performing some bizarre stunt using contraptions? Some speculate that it is one man on an invisible tightrope of whom a time-lapse photo was taken by someone standing below. This picture looks like it's from the early 1900s, so what do you think? The answers await. Remember to comment down below and let us know what you think. Now on to the next topic. Number 5, Colin Evans. The man, the myth, the legend, Colin Evans. He could supposedly levitate during a seance at Wortley Hall in 1937 and created a sensation that swept through the town. News of this seemingly miraculous feat spread like wildfire, capturing the imagination of the public. People were stunned by the idea of a person defying gravity, and it became a topic of constant discussion and gossip. Evans's levitation became the talk of the town, with many struggling to understand the supernatural event. The story took on a life of its own, transforming Evans into a local legend. But many investigations began that wanted to prove he was a hoax. But those who were faint of heart swore that they saw him take flight without contraptions. At least, to understand the next mystery, we don't need to experience a jump scare. Number 4, Piri Reis Map. Next up, we have the Piri Reis Map. It's a unique and mysterious artifact that's named after its creator, Piri Reis, an Ottoman admiral and cartographer. Born in the year 1465 in what is now Turkey, Piri lived there till 1553. He was a distinguished naval commander in the Ottoman Empire, known for his skills in navigation and map-making. Interested in putting his skill to use, in the year 15,013, Reis compiled a world map that included various regions, including parts of Europe, Africa, and the Americas. He drew upon a variety of sources, including older maps, charts, and possibly even explorers' accounts, to create this remarkable piece of cartography. To date, historians believe it's one of the oldest maps showing the Americas before Columbus's voyages, providing crucial insight into early world geography knowledge. The map features detailed calligraphy and illustrations of ships, sea creatures, and animals, showcasing the artistic skills of its time. Surprisingly, it accurately portrays the eastern coast of South America, sparking debates about its information sources. The most shocking part? It features an ice-free Antarctica and details its coast that is now under tons of ice with extreme precision. Except it's not the only mark of history that's baffled historians. Number 3, Nazca. The Nazca Lines are an eye-popping collection of massive geoglyphs carved into the Peruvian coastal plain, situated around 250 miles south of Lima. Created over 2,000 years ago by the Nazca culture, these geoglyphs portray many plants, animals, and various shapes. Their true scope and details can only be fully perceived from an aerial vantage point due to their huge size. The geometry of the shapes defies logic, and despite more than 80 years of study, these geoglyphs continue to shock all. Researchers continue to wonder as to what their exact purpose was and have been recognized as a UNESCO World Heritage Site since 1994. Interestingly, the Nazca Lines were made by removing the reddish-brown iron-coated pebbles on the desert floor to reveal the lighter-colored sand beneath. The Nazca people likely began with small-scale models and gradually enlarged them to create large figures. They formed the lines by removing rocks from both the outlines and interiors of the shapes. Thankfully for historians, the desert climate helped preserve these ancient designs over time, which they can now puzzle over. Number 2, Billy the Kid. Speaking of puzzling imagery, have you heard about the latest buzz surrounding Billy the Kid? The authenticity of a 4x6-inch ferrotype purchased at memorabilia shop in Fresno, California in 2010, which shows Billy the Kid and members of the Regulators playing croquet, has been the subject of much debate. For those of you in the dark, he was one of the most notorious gunmen in America, back in the late 1800s. This would be the only known photograph featuring Billy the Kid and the Regulators together, as well as the only image including their wives and female companions. The reason he's become such an enigmatic character in folklore is that he was a difficult guy to pin down. After he was captured and tried for his killings, he managed to escape prison and led the police on a wild goose chase till he was finally taken down. Except many people believe he outran the police and that he was Brushy Bill Roberts, who lived in Mexico and died in 1950. Even today, historians debate about his reign and continue to analyze the photos, wondering about the extent of his crimes. But this isn't the only enigma that's puzzled scientists. Number 1. The WOW signal. Finally, this is indeed one of the most intriguing events in the history of radio astronomy. The WOW signal was a strange yet powerful narrowband radio signal detected on August 15, 1977, by Ohio State University's Big Ear radio telescope, which was then being used to support the search for extraterrestrial intelligence. The signal seemed to originate from the direction of the constellation Sagittarius and displayed characteristics that were consistent with what might be expected from an extraterrestrial source. Astronomer Jerry R. Amon, a volunteer researcher, discovered this unusual signal a few days later while reviewing the recorded data. He was so astonished by the intensity of the signal that he circled the reading on the computer printout, which was 6:5, and penned down the word "wow" next to it. His exclamation led to the event being widely known as the WOW signal. The signal lasted for the entire 72-second window during which Big Ear was able to observe it, but it has never been detected again, despite multiple subsequent efforts by Amon and other researchers. Numerous theories have been proposed regarding the source of the signal, ranging from natural phenomena to human-made interference. But none of these hypotheses have been able to fully account for the nature of the signal. To date, it remains the strongest candidate for a potential extraterrestrial radio transmission ever picked up by human instruments. Thanks for watching, and we'll see you in the next one.